Hello, my name is Saying. I'm the founder of GTM Academy, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can make more money. Now, one of the things that entrepreneurs often don't understand is just this simple diagram that I'm going to be showing you guys. And hopefully, this diagram is going to be the key to you understanding what you need to do to make a lot of money. I've got an academy of over 40 entrepreneurs that I work with, and I've got a coach that's doing over 35k a month. I'm growing my own business. Like, there's so many things that I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis that for someone who's kind of like starting to get into entrepreneurship and isn't really sure where to go, I can give you a lot of lessons on this stuff. And this is one of the most important ones. So the thing that you have to understand as an entrepreneur is that you essentially, if you want to be able to make money, you have to have some sort of system, something that actually gives you an output, right? And this output is money. And I always use dollars. I don't know why. Actually, no, I do know why. It's because I'm so used to seeing Alex Hormozy and other people in America talk about this kind of stuff that my brain's almost programmed to this. But dollars, pounds, whatever, it's money. Okay? So essentially what happens is that you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as whatever, you put things into the black box, and the black box spits out money. Now, the problem is most people don't have a black box, right? This is the constraint of why you're not making money, because you don't have a system, you don't have a process, you don't have anything in place that's actually going to produce money for you. Okay, so the first thing, and the reason why some people get into business, is because they create that system, right? So step one, have a system. Okay, now some people get into crypto, some people get into business, some people they try lots of different things. Some people try and just get a better career, right? And their career is their black box. That's their system. And the problem and the reason why career is so limited is because you can only make so much money when you actually invest in a career. Like, there's a capped income that you'll have. However, business is uncapped, which is why people who want to make a lot of money typically go down this route. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, I understand I need to have some sort of business and you have some sort of system to be able to get a lot of money, that's step one, right? Like, I think you can make a lot of money through crypto. I've got clients that have made good money through crypto. I know clients who have made some good money through investing, like stocks, bonds, things like that. But in my opinion, if you really want to be able to scale your income, business is one of the best ways to do it, because you actually create something tangible, and there's, in my eyes, a lot more skill that's involved with it. And the reason why I like that is because I think that, the crypto market, it's unpredictable. The skills that you can have that might work at some times, the market might be bad at other times. Whereas I believe when it comes to business, it's something that's so fundamental to the way that our society works that it's never going to leave you. So if you can figure it out once, you spend however much time figuring out those skills once, and they stay with you forever. Okay, so that's why I'm such a big advocate for business and getting a good system in place. So if you've got your system and you're like, okay, well, I've got a system and I'm not making money, there's two reasons why you're probably not making much money. Okay, one is because your inputs, right? These things are wrong. You're not actually doing the things that you need to be able to get stuff on the outside, right? Like, you're not even putting the things into the system. Okay. The other reason why your business is probably not working is because you're putting effort in. Let's say you're working all day, you're putting loads of time in, but this system actually has a bunch of holes in it. So you keep trying to fill this up, right? Let's even imagine it's water, right? And you're filling this up with water, but then all of it's just coming out. It's just leaking through the bottom because you've got too many holes in your bucket, which means that by the time it gets to the other end, there's nothing that's actually going to come out as money, right? And you're left with nothing, and you sit there wondering, okay, well, why am I not making money? So those are the two main things that in business you have to understand. You have to be able to understand what are your inputs, okay? So what things do you actually have to do? And then the second side of things is, okay, well, what are the inefficiencies within my system that I have to understand? And essentially, the tactic at that point, once you understand the system and the inefficiencies, is to be able to go back and say, okay, well, I'm going to plug this one. Maybe that's, you've got a really low close rate, right? I'm going to do some sales training, okay? Maybe your product's a bit rubbish, okay? You close that gap. Maybe you don't have a good team. You close that gap, right? Maybe you don't understand your customer that well. You close that gap. Maybe you don't have good operations in place. You close that gap. And boom, before you know it, things can actually go through your system. You put input in, and then the output on the other side is good. Okay. Now, here's the other thing, right? Now, let's say you do have a system. Okay. Let me just rub out this water. Let's say you do have a system, but the problem is with this system, you're not making that much money. So as you can see on this diagram, there's three inputs, let's say that's your time, that's your money, that's your effort, and you're only getting a little bit of money on the outside, and you're like, okay, well, this trade isn't actually worth it. Okay. Now there's a different problem that we might need to solve with this. It's either that you're not at the stage where your efforts are giving you a good return because, maybe you're not well known enough, maybe because you're not actually as good as you think you are, and that's why people aren't paying you as much, maybe it's because you don't understand pricing. But one of the common reasons why people don't get much money on the outside of things after they've actually put in a lot of effort and plugged up all the inefficiencies in the system is because the system itself is very poor, right? So what I mean by that is when it comes to building a business, there's a lot of the time the business that you choose can be a bad business to build. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, how could it be a bad business? Like, surely any business is good business. And it's like, no. There's some businesses that are going to require so much more effort, so much more investment, so much more upfront time that for you to get a good return on it is just unrealistic. Okay? And the likelihood of you being able to roll the dice and just get a good business, the likelihood of you being able to roll the dice and get a good business right off the rip is quite low. Okay? Like, you're going to have to go through some iterations of what your business model actually is. And I can give you examples of GTM Academy where our business model to start with was just going to be speaking events. We were just going to do talks and deliver workshops, and we were just going to try and get paid for that. And that was going to be our model. And then we realized it's actually really difficult to be at the face of everything, market us really well when realistically all we're doing is speaking and we're not actually doing any work. It's essentially the way that we're trying to run the business is by marketing what we could do and just talking on social media, but not actually doing the things, not actually being really disciplined, not actually helping people with their time management, just going and delivering talks. And I felt like that was a little bit empty of me. And also, it just wasn't a business model that was attractive, right? It was quite hard to get recurring revenue. It was hard to be able to get ourselves in front of the right people. There was a lot of problems with that business model, which is why we ended up switching to a different business model. The business model that we run now with the Academy is much more sustainable for us. It's much easier to run. We can plug in a little bit of effort and consistently get paid for the next 12 months because the system allows us to carry that out. Okay, so one of the things that I'll try and demonstrate here with my amazing drawing skills is that sometimes you've got a system and you're thinking, okay, well, this is my black box and this is the way that I'm growing the business. But realistically, there's another black box over here, which is much bigger. And all you have to do is you put in a little bit of effort, and on the outside, you get a lot of money. Okay. Because now, with the business model that we had before, we would put loads of effort in the talks and workshops, and we would only get paid once, right? The likelihood of us getting lots of different talks was very low. However, now we acquire a customer for our academy, and then they want to join level 1, they want to join level 2, they want to get some personal coaching with us, they want to do other things, they want us to build out their systems, they want us to coach their team. We sell once and get paid a lot, whereas before we had put so much into just selling once, and that was all we would get, right? So this is the kind of thinking that as a business owner you want to understand, especially when you're fairly early on, because you don't want to choose a business model that isn't actually going to work for you. Now, I'm going to put a huge caveat on that of almost all business models will work if you put enough work into them, okay? Don't let this be a reason why you're switching business model, and you never settling onto something that actually works, right? Because realistically, there's a certain amount of work that you've got to put in, 6 months, sometimes even a year, into a business model before you can decide whether or not it actually works, okay? So keep this in mind, but hopefully looking at these 3 different kind of problems, firstly is the input side of it, secondly is the inefficiencies in the system, and thirdly is the type of system that you have. Being able to understand this, if you want to make money, these are the 3 things that I think just conceptually if you can't actually understand this, if you can't list your inputs out and say, this is what I have to do, and this is my system, and these are all the gaps that I've plugged, and this is the model that I'm using, and this is why I can make me lots of money. You can't answer those 3 questions, you're going to struggle in business, okay? It's going to be really hard for you to be able to grow what you do. So this is my advice for you. If you want to get rich, if you want to be able to make a lot of money, if you want to be able to get paid over and over and over again without having to put in that much work, this is the type of thing I think you need to adopt, okay? So hopefully this is useful for you. If you've got any questions about this, drop in the comments. If not, there's another video here or here, I can't remember where, that is going to be helpful for you to understand how you can make more money as well. So make sure you go check them out too. And as a final note, if you want to get around other business owners, then click the link below in the description. We run an academy. It's completely free to join. You can get around other business owners, and once you get around them, you'll be able to understand again on a deeper level how you can make more money, because you can watch other people and how they do it. Okay, that's it from me, and I'll catch you in the next episode.